All right, guys, welcome into the first video on YouTube. Should be the first video of many, but we'll go over pretty much the recap of what we did today. So I'll have the charts here, and yeah, we'll start off with what our analysis was for the day. So we were trading around here when I did my first analysis on NQ, right where my cursor's at, and we were coming off this 1 hour inefficiency. However, I was very focused on these two highs right here. They were relative to each other. So my main focus was going higher, but first we would possibly go lower at open to manipulate into these lows, which were an SMT from previous price. So we did manipulate lower into the 1 hour for a rally gap here, but we didn't see any respectiveness. Now, my main focus was on these highs. Why these highs? Because they were left relative to each other from yesterday. And we also had an unmitigated daily inefficiency on NQ, which we had here. And new week opening gap was higher. So rightfully so, my bias was more bullish than bearish. Um, However, we were proven wrong. Bearish bias was, in fact, what was right today. So then we displaced lower, and we don't respect this. And where I took my trade was a short, since I kind of figured we weren't going to be going any higher. So my trade was taken on ES, and this is what I did wrong. We left this relative low here to this low, right? So the trade idea is correct. It's just way too far into a discount, and we need to see a retracement into some form of premium, especially after leaving these unmitigated PD arrays. It's a very newbie mistake, but I'll explain exactly why I took the trade. So we were coming off the 5 minute, as we can see. We have a very nice close on the 5 to continue lower. And I was pretty convinced we would probably continue lower if we're continuing lower to previous day low, which we still haven't met, but we're still working our way there. Now, as soon as I seen this inversion, I saw this as an inducement to go higher for people that want to go long. And so I entered here on this candle. What I did not notice is, check out NQ. NQ had reached lower, sweeping this low, creating an SMT, but leaving this low equal to the other one. So this is what I missed out on. If I would have seen this, I would not be a participant in this trade. So I was just focused on ES to go ahead and meet my 1 to 1.5 criteria, 1 to 1 to 2, risk to reward. And so I entered as soon as we got filled there. And instantly I seen go to drawdown. My stop was above here on my live account, and on my top step accounts, it was right here. So we got stopped out for a very small loss. We used very low leverage. Given that we were already expanded so much, I didn't want to risk too much, so we used low leverage and we accepted the risk. Once the trade is in, I did notice this after the fact, and I was like, wow, we already swept. This is more likely an SMT to go where? Into the unmitigated PD arrays, which make perfect sense. Why does market come all the way up into here? Because we have not mitigated price prior to these candles. We've only came up here and came lower. So we come up, we mitigate, we go into a premium, and then we start displacing lower, which makes perfect sense again. So is there an entry out of here? There is on NQ, especially since NQ did come up as well and leave this low. This becomes an easy target. So we see a displacement, we see a respectiveness of the 5 minute fair rally gap to the downside, and then we see a very small entry. I probably wouldn't have taken this either way, but I do like this right here, which I did not take because I had already taken my trade for the day. Especially since it was already a loss and I wasn't feeling the best. I didn't want to go ahead and go in again and try to figure my way back. So we see this order block, and after this closure of this candle, we respect this order block after mitigating this PD array. So then here we can enter and buy at market, put our stop above the order block, and then what should an order block do? Change the state of delivery. If we're delivering higher, we should change the state of delivery to deliver lower. So then we see that met here. And obviously there's lower targets, which we'll more than likely meet. But first we probably will mitigate this PD array here. So I'll go higher just to go lower. And yeah, so just wrong on the draw today. I really was focused on these highs on NQ, which in all reality are an SMT with ES. So just something to reflect on. and think about. So, yeah, just wanted to do a quick review, post the first video on here. Probably not what people expect, a loss, but it is what it is. And we have to execute discipline in this situation and be able to step away. The best case scenario would have been not taking a trade at all today. Why? Because look at how much we've expended since open. 9:30 right here. We've moved quite a bit, right? We moved quite a bit. So there's very unlikeliness that we find a good trade. And if we find a good trade, it's not in the best conditions because of the overall expansion. We moved nearly 300 points on NQ. So for me to be looking for a trade in here is a little bit naive because we can easily consolidate our way through, and this could have never happened. And then I would have been in Cook City right there. So some food for thought for myself, things to learn about, and overall happy with the fact that I only used very low leverage and I'm done for the day. It's a lesson that I've learned before, and I'll continue to learn until I actually learn the lesson. So we really don't learn our lessons until we're tired of, come making the same type of mistakes. So this is a mistake that can easily be corrected just by simply adjusting. So what could you have adjusted here? Since our bias was very focused on these highs and the daily inefficiency, we have to understand that if market is not going to go there, we have to be able to adapt. And we have to look at the PD arrays that are being respected in price to go ahead and adjust our bias and execute that way. So on to the next day. I'm still figuring out how to do everything with the live session. So as soon as I get that figured out, I wouldn't mind doing a couple live sessions a week, and then we can, trade pretty much live on YouTube. So that would be pretty nice. But if you guys have any suggestions, anything on how to use OBS, please let me know. I'm completely new to that. So yeah, I'm working on that right now though. So I'll see you guys in the next video or next live session. Take care.